Hello and welcome to week 7 of Reddit League Season 4. This week we're going to be playing Saskatchewan. And now, a lot of you might be thinking, Saskatchewan? There's nothing there, is there? Um, and you're about 95% correct. But I thought actually I'd hate practicing Saskatchewan. Oh, I just saw a typo there. Ooh. Where was I? I thought I was going to hate Saskatchewan, but the more I practiced it, the more interesting it actually became. It is pretty much a state where you're essentially just trying to go as fast as possible, as far as possible, if you're in a rural area. But I actually quite like small town Saskatchewan, figuring out which town you're in and then finding the town on the map, because it usually provided pretty decent information relatively close to the start, where especially the small towns usually consisted of like maybe 20, 30 houses and a couple of streets. And once you left the streets and got onto the next highway, you usually got the road number and the name of the town. So it made it quite easy to find them on a map. And quite easy is always enjoyable if you're playing on your own and not against anyone else and everyone gets 25k and you mess up one pinpoint and end up with less, like in an improved world. Um, Speaking of an improved world, that is the wrong direction. Is there anything I need to... No, that's fine. I don't need to cut that out. Yeah, I drew against Spaceman. It wasn't a massive surprise, was it? Uh, Spaceman got less points than me, and thankfully, it was enough for a bonus point for me. It wasn't for Baseman, which is also good in the table. But yeah, Max and Shumi drew with perfect games. I think those were like the third and fourth people, like third and fourth person that played. So I was like, oh shit. But no, after that, it kind of became a bit more normal. Let me call it normal. And I think it was enough for fifth place with that score. Tall was above, fifth or sixth. Yeah, Tall was above me, and Schluty, yeah, and Pluki was 1 point behind me, so fifth place, yeah. The main storyline of this one is that Guelo lost it. So no longer first place for Guelo, who drops down to third, and I'm back up into the automatic relegation spot together with Tall. That'd be quite a nice way to end this season. Total score is still the third best one of the division. Not much happened last week, so obviously didn't change much. Again, not a perfect game though. Still chasing that first one, but to be quite honest, I until this season I hadn't even gotten above 24.9k, and I think I've already done it 3 times this season. Was it 3 times? It was Improved Worlds. It was Lakes of the World, I'm pretty sure, in Japan. I think it was those 3. So I'm more than happy with my performances so far. And now let's talk about the other seeds in Saskatchewan. Starting off with Division 5, and I can already give you a slight spoiler here. That was my lowest score. Round 1, round 1 was my worst out of the 20 rounds in the other 4, well, in the other 4 including Division 5 seeds. And yeah, it was just the middle of nowhere round. And I just eventually sort of ran out of time. I was actually relatively confident with where I'd placed it. Just a bit unlucky because I went all this way up here. And here I then found a sign. Now, what sign? Oh, yeah, I found a sign that's the only thing that it told me was south 23 or 26 kilometers to Clayton. And I found Clayton because I remembered roughly where it was, and also the landscape gave you a pretty good idea. You're somewhere in this like southwestern half here, relatively close to Montana. And then I found Clayton here, and I knew, okay, it was 26 kilometers north and then somewhere west, and I knew we had a couple of steps. Apparently we had one step. Didn't quite remember that correctly, but I thought we were here. I underestimated how far 26 kilometers are, essentially, and thought, I'm assuming probably this doesn't even have coverage. Let me quickly check. Um, and also this, by the way, yeah, this is just typical Southwest Saskatchewan. Very dry. Not a lot here. Um, does any of this have coverage? No. Okay. Let's ignore it then. But yeah, just a difficult round. The most difficult out of them all. Round 2 then brought us over to this place here, relatively close to the town of Wolseley, and it kind of just went down here, saw an entrance sign for Wolseley. Probably, I think I might have gone down here until I found the 617, and there was probably a sign for the 1. Yeah, there was definitely a sign for the 1 2. And then you kind of just look, okay, there's the 1, look along it. Okay, there's the 617, there's Wolseley. Round 3 was in Moosomin, well, or just outside of it. You kind of went down here a bit, made it to here, saw like Moosomin next exit here, or next 3 exits Moosomin, or something like that. And then you're like, okay, we're somewhere west of it. And I actually misremembered, which I didn't bother pinpointing too accurately in the sense that I didn't triple check everything. So I kind of misremembered which side of the road we started on. But this kind of road helped you pinpoint a bit. I still put myself too far west. Not my best performance on that round, but anyway, it only took a minute, and I was still better than the other 2 here, so can't be too mad about that one. Round 4 then took another long time up here actually, and this is, you know what? I'll for this one, just because I practiced Saskatchewan actually for like 20-30 seeds, I'm gonna have an extra tips and tricks in Saskatchewan section between the other seeds and my playthrough of the Division 2 seed. So if you want to hear that, stick around for that. It's probably going to be in the time of the video as another like timestamp, so it's easy to get to, or skip if you want to. But yeah, I'll explain a lot of things in that, so I don't have to do that now. Yeah, this round not the easiest because you had to travel quite a distance. This road is terrible. You have to travel a long time to find any clues at all, and I made it all the way down here. And then I also did find, I went through Bear Creek and there were signs for Bear Creek, but who knows where Bear Creek is? I certainly didn't. But then I found a sign for the 909 down here, and that made it pretty easy. And then the road is actually pretty distinct here. I could have, if I had known for sure that it was this road, I could have just guessed solely based on that this is a pretty west-east road, and we had this little like S-curve here. Pinpointing exactly, I actually got really close. Mostly dumb luck, I'm gonna call it. I knew we were somewhere on this curve, on this road. I felt like there was a slight bump here in the road, like the slightest of bumps. I'm not even sure if I'm just imagining it looking at the map right now, but it felt like a slight bump here. That's why I placed it here, and it was pretty close. So maybe it was there. Maybe I just have a very good imagination. And then round 5 is the easiest of them all. You just start down here. Right there, I think, was a sign for both the 9 and the 361. Kind of look, okay, 9, 361. The 361, it said, I think the sign said 361 is to the west, so it couldn't have been here. It had to be here. And there you go. That's it. Oh no, that wasn't what gave me confirmation. Actually, my bad. Just remembered when zooming out, because that alone is circumstantial evidence, I would call it. No, there was another sign here that said Lampman is this direction, so I knew we had to be on this road and not on this one. That's it. The Division 4 seed. Where is he? 24997. We started off in Saskatoon, and probably, quite interestingly, you don't even really want to be in big cities in Saskatchewan, because essentially Saskatchewan has 4 types of rounds. Round A is you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no signs anywhere. You don't like those rounds. Round 2 is you're in the middle of nowhere, but there's a couple of signs around, and they'll actually tell you some highway numbers or like road numbers, like this 394, for example. Those rounds are quite nice because people might struggle with them, but for me, they're pretty easy. Round type 3 is you're in a small town, any of these, really. They're like all close to highways, and they'll pretty much all have signs pointing you to those highways. They're my favorite round because they're super easy to find. At the same time, you probably can't gain any points with them. And round 4, in the middle of a major city. Saskatoon, Regina, Prince Albert, Moose Jaw, any of those really. For some reason, Moosomin like puts its name on everything, so it's not too bad. Any others? Lloydminster, I've only been there once, and it was fairly easy. I don't even. It wasn't even fairly easy. I had to travel quite a while, actually, if I remember correctly. But anyway, you're never there, apparently. Um, so yeah, I don't like big cities at all because, as I said, there's a few of them, and usually they very scarcely place their city name anywhere. Like, still better than like most American cities or some other Canadian cities, but not so often that it's actually fun. You're always in there with a bit of time pressure of, can I find a city name quickly enough? Most of the time you can, but yeah, it can be a bit annoying. Anyway, in this one I had to travel quite a while. We started here, went up there, and then all the way over here to the highway until I eventually found a sign that was like, this way to the 11, 16, and some other roads, I think, as well. The 14 and the 7, all this way. Surprisingly, I think the 5 wasn't on the sign. Don't know why. But anyway, once I knew it was Saskatoon, obviously you just look, okay, it was 8th Street, it was Preston Avenue, and then south was 7th Street, so you can only be in there, and you pinpoint with the building. Pretty easy. Then we moved over to the bane of this round, apparently for Schluty as well. I've killed everything else too, except for this one. I had less problems with it than he did, but still. Went all the way over there, all the way up there, till I eventually found out, okay, we're now entering Weyburn. And there was also probably some road signs, probably road number 35. I'm not 100% sure anymore though. But yeah, and then from the 35, I kind of just went, okay, we started. It was actually this bend in the road, which is an interesting thing actually, because while you're going down this road, a lot of players might just go, whatever, this is a bend in the road here, who cares? But Saskatchewan's roads are so straight, especially out in the middle of nowhere, that this bend alone is probably the only bend kind of like this in this whole area. So once I found that bend, also with the road going off of it here, it was an immediate confirmation for me, okay, it can only be this place. There's no way it's anywhere else than here. And then it's just a matter of counting side roads to the bend. And it was 1, 2, 3 side roads, and then comes the bend. And in the end, as I always do in all of my practice rounds as well, when I had to do something like this, I always put it too close to the side roads. I even put my first pin like here, and then I was like, I always put it close. I gotta put it further away, and I was still too close. And lost 3 points here. Bit of a shame. Round 3, then up there in Prince Albert. Yeah, went over there, up here, and then it was again road numbers. I think it was the 3 and the 302. Maybe the 2 as well. Yeah, I think the 2 as well. 3-2, 302. And yeah, then again, 6th Avenue, Brannion Drive, 3rd Avenue East, Brannion Drive. Actually, no, 3rd Avenue East, 24th Street East. And then, yeah, just easily find it. I wasn't exactly sure where to place my pin here. Somewhere along this road here. I got, I guess, 60 meters isn't super lucky. I still had 9 meters of leeway, but I wasn't very confident about it. Round 4 then brought us to Moose Jaw, another city, and exact same thing happened here. Make our way down here, see signs for the 2, the 363, and I think nothing else actually. I think it's just the 2 and the 363 down here. But you just look at the 2, follow it until you find the 363. And then you look where's Ominica Street and where's 4th Avenue Northwest. Very easy. And then round 5 was over here, north of Kyle. What did I find for this one? I think it was just the 4 crossing with the 342, which gives you an exact position, and then you just go north from here, and you start it right at an intersection. Super easy. Yeah, and you have no further bends, no further side roads, sorry, until the bend. So immediately easy to tell, okay, you have to be here. And with 15 minutes, it might actually have been the longest of the seeds here. A lot of my Saskatchewan seeds in practice as well usually ranged from like the average one about 8 to 11 minutes. Some of the fastest ones, I had one where I was on 20k after about 4 minutes. And then in the last round, it took me about 50 seconds. And then I just messed up. I pinpointed, like, I mixed up north and south, not in a way that I'm like, okay, I was north of the city and then I picked the wrong side. I traveled forward essentially to the city. And to me, forward always equates to north. And I probably just didn't check the compass and put myself on the wrong side of the city and lost like a 25k in under 5 minutes because it was super easy to pinpoint as well if I'd just gone on the wrong on the right side of the city. Anyway, on to the Division 3 seed, which you can see there 9 minutes 9 seconds. Not the best score. One not so good round in there, and a couple of just missed pinpoints, but also not. None of those were particularly easy. Round one was, I guess, in a suburb in Regina. Typical annoying suburb look, but I made my way out quite quickly and then onto the ring road. And there I saw Regina somewhere, I think. And from then on, you just look, okay, we're somewhere in the north of Regina. Where's Rochdale Boulevard? Where's McEachern Drive? And where's Narcissus Drive? And there you go, here. And I didn't even bother like going back to the start, so I put myself here because I misremembered where exactly we started, but it was close enough. Round two was then over here. Yeah, that was an interesting one. You can certainly call it interesting. I went south all the way down here. I don't think I found anything, and then I went back to the start and then went north all the way up here, and I found the intersection between the 724 and the 633. And then I just had to pinpoint somewhere along this long road, and I thought the the water features fit better up here, meaning there weren't really any at the start. And once I traveled south a bit, I got to crossing a water feature, and I underestimated the distance as well. Not again, not my best work, but not my seed anyway. Round three, fairly straightforward. Went south like a little bit. There was a sign here for the 673, and for the Lyle. Just go here. Okay, this is a curve that stands out a lot. Place yourself up here. There was a water feature right there that actually this time fit map and street view. I just placed myself there. Went a bit too far north because I thought we weren't quite at the water feature. Apparently we were according to Google Maps. That's fine. Round four, over here, right at the border in Fleming. I think here was a sign for the Manitoba border, and there was also like a sign for Fleming here. So I just went to the Manitoba border, looked, where's Fleming? There's Fleming, put it there. Why did I miss that 5k? Yeah, because this time it's actually wrong. Like Google Maps puts the marker south of the railroad crossing, and as you can tell right here, we're north of the railroad crossing. I take no blame and no responsibility for that. Round five was then over in, well, close to Fort Capel. And yeah, I put myself too close to the intersection. Would you look at that? Yeah, I just went down here, saw a sign that was like, hey, it's 1 kilometer to Fort Capel. And well, I just know where that is. There you go. There was also a sign, I think, for the junction with the 35, if you needed it, around there as well. And then the Division 1 seed, which took me a grand total of 6 minutes 37. Because round one was up here, north of Cochin, on the Battle for its Provincial Park. I actually had to travel quite a while here. That was the longest round out of all of them. I did find a sign here towards Aquadeo, but it didn't actually tell me the road number. I had to travel all the way down here until I found a sign that told me, okay, you're on the 4, you're close to Cochin. And yeah, then I just looked at the 4, and there's Cochin, and there's Aquadeo, and there's where we started. And we started in this curve, which, as regular viewers of the channel know, I hate curves. And that's why I missed. I missed 5 points. Round two, then a whole 32 seconds was down here in Davidson, or close to Davidson. Yeah, I didn't really bother pinpointing that, I've got to be honest. I just went up here and I saw, okay, Davidson probably saw, maybe saw the 653 and the 747. Maybe I saw the 11, maybe I saw the 44. I don't remember. It was a really easy round. I just like, and I saw the crossing. I placed my pin somewhere here. I was too close to the intersection. You know the story. Round three was then in Musimin. Yeah, if you remember the Division 5 seat that had around here, I went up here. I was like, oh, hey. And we started like right next to a railway crossing too. So like, if it wasn't easy enough, yeah, you go. Round four, then in Regina again. This didn't take too long. I made my way over here, and then I think I saw a sign that said Regina on it. Maybe I saw a bus or something. I don't quite remember. And yeah, we started at an intersection, major intersection, 9th Avenue North and Courtney Street. Just put the pin there. Easy round. And then round five near Gravelburg. Or maybe even in Gravelburg. I don't know where the where the border of the town would be. Probably here though, so not in Gravelburg. I'm gonna declare. Yeah, I went north a bit. There were signs towards Chaplin and Shamrock. It actually took me a bit to find them. I eventually, because Gravelburg stands out a lot here, I eventually found Gravelburg, which is quite funny because it's a very small town. It's literally got like, what's that, 15, 16 streets? But that stands out so much more than anything else in this region. And yeah, so I found that in the end and put my pin at the right place. And now to the tips section, for which I will switch over to Google Maps quickly. Now, tip one. Well, I mean, that's barely a tip in the first place, but the Google coverage doesn't go very far north once it eventually loads. This is the furthest north it will go. And important tip number one, these three roads here, this one, and this one, essentially look the same. Completely different from the rest of Saskatchewan, though, so you can always tell you're on one of these roads. And they are all kind of different in the direction they take. So if you travel for long enough, which, and by long enough, I mean like probably 2 minutes is good enough, you can definitely figure out which of these three roads you're on, which is quite nice. Tip number two. The roads are actually quite well numbered in Saskatchewan, even though it might look like an absolute nightmare here. And the 2-digit ones actually don't really have too good of a system. Like, a lot of the close numbers are close to each other, kind of. But it's probably, for most of it, it's not even worth it, even if it had a system, to really learn it, because you can find them quite easily, as long as you stick to, if the 47 is here, the 48 is probably not too far away. But the interesting ones come with the 3-digit ones, the smaller ones. I can turn that off now because it'll just lag. Especially two variants, the 6s and the 7s, because those are actually well ordered. If you go down here, you'll find low 700s and low 600s, 604, 65, 705. And then you go over here and they increase. 623, 718, 721, 631. And then you got to start over here again with 637, 651, and it goes on. And then you start over here again and go all the way over here. 789, 791, 788, 793. They're not perfectly ordered, but they're well enough ordered so that you can always rely on a road with a close number being close by. But some of those overlap with highways. So, you know that usual stuff that you do in GeoGuessr when you're like, well, I found two numbers that are close, but it's not the right one, so I have to go look further, somewhere far away maybe. No, it's probably still just, like, imagine you have the 639 here, you have the 640, you're looking for the 638, you can't find it anywhere here. It's probably just this road then. Or maybe it's this road, or maybe it's this road. It's one of those. In actuality, I'd look around a bit. It's not down here because that's where the lower ones are, and well, there it is. 638, close enough. Tip number 3, and a tip that is unfortunately not super useful because in most situations you would even have the opportunity to use it. It's usually better to just continue going until you find a good sign. But Canada, I think the US has in some parts as well, kind of a similar system. But Saskatchewan in particular has township roads and range roads. Now, those are usually very small roads, and you don't find signs for them all that often. Now, why they're useful in Saskatchewan is because none of these like random roads in the middle of nowhere have names. They are township roads and range roads usually, but they don't show up on the map. So why is it useful, you may ask? Because the number of the road actually tells you exactly where you are. You just need to be very good at estimating distances. Because through Saskatchewan run 3 meridians, the Saskatchewan meridians. Meridian number 1 goes down here. So essentially it's kind of is parallel to this and splits up here and goes like down to here. Meridian number 2 goes through here, somewhere between Saskatoon and Regina. Meridian number 3 goes down here, west of Saskatoon, and then meridian number 4 is the border to Alberta. Now the range roads use those meridians, and essentially what they do is a range road will have 4 digits. The first digit is the closest meridian to the east. So if you're in this area down here, a range road will always start with 1. If you're in this area here, somewhere around Regina, a range road will always start with 2. If you're somewhere around Saskatoon, it will always start with 3. You get the process. Now, the next 2 digits of the range road are the range. Now, a range itself is defined as an area. I don't know the exact measurements, but between 2 meridians, there are, I think, 32 ranges. So you can technically calculate exactly how big a range is. They're always like sort of squares, might be rectangles, I'm not 100% sure. And so the next 2 ranges are the next 2 digits are the digits of the range. And ranges start, essentially you have the meridian here, and then the first square afterwards is range number 1. So if you have a number, if you're like here, just west of the first meridian, the second meridian actually, first meridian is here, no, just west, wait. No, first meridian, second, I'm a bit lost right now. Ignore me, let's go over here. If you're just west of the third meridian, the first digit is going to be 3. The the 2 other digits after that are going to be 0 and 1. That means you're in the first range. Then the last digit is going to be how far into the range you are. It's mostly useless because you can't really narrow it down that much anyway with just eyeballing the distances. Now, township roads is the second thing you need to accurately judge where you are, because you might now be thinking, well, I've got meridian 1 and I've got range 20. So I know I'm somewhere like over here, maybe. But I have no idea how far north or south I am. And that's where township roads come in. Because the township road is defined as Saskatchewan has townships, a lot of them. Now, the township number is defined by, it's counting upwards. And it's defined by the distance to the United States. A township is 6 miles in length north-south. So, if you have a township road, essentially, that's called 01, then you know you're in the first township, somewhere far south. If you have one that's called, well, it's 3 digits, by the way, usually. So the third digit, as it is with the range roads, is telling you how far into the township you are. So if you've got a road, for example, a township road that's called 374, then you know you're in the 37th township and you're 4 miles north of the border to the 36th township. Now, you still might be thinking, well, 37th township, where on earth is that? Two things for that. A, as a township is always 6 miles, you can calculate exactly how far away you are from the US border. If you're on 374, then that means you're on the 37th township. You calculate 37 minus 1 times 6, which is about 200 miles, and then plus 4 for the 4 miles you're into the township. So that's the exact distance you're north of the US border. And that's pretty much it. And then you can also help yourself with the 51st township, which I think is the furthest north one, is about here. And the first one is down here. So if you got like the 25th is pretty much exact middle, so somewhere like here. And those were my tips for Saskatchewan. Probably already too late for you to use them in anything useful in Reddit League because all the video will go up when Reddit League when the leg is over. But if you need it for anything in the future, there you go. And now let's get into my leg, and I hope you enjoy watching it. All right, let's go. All right, in a city in first student Canada. There's not the name of the city. Could have been lucky first time around. The street's called Gary and Third Avenue. Kind of a weird car here as well, just for that little stretch. Let's find out the name of the city. The quickest way to do this. And I'll cross the railway. Okay. All right. It's probably not down. Down a bin. Probably not. No. Give me back to the start. GeoGuessr, please. Get on that way. All right. That looks like a suburb, which is not where I want to be. This way, maybe. How about this way? All right, how about this way? Big road. Which direction does that sign say? It's the bike route. Regina's only hit Moose Station. That says Regina Public School. Okay. So we are probably in Regina. That also reminds me of the suburbs. Third Avenue what? Was it south, west, east? That's Gary Street. Yeah, I know. Third Avenue. Not even any further designation. Okay. Gary Street. Where on earth is Gary Street? Could be in a lot of different places. Third Avenue is not. Oh, it's Gray Street, almost. There it is, Gary Street. Okay. And we are 1, 2, 3.5 houses down. We should be here. Make sure there's one. Oh, there's another one. So there's 1, 2. Kind of. Probably a bit higher. This is one, or is that the same house? It's difficult to tell on a map. I think putting it here is a safe bet. Yep, 5 meters, good enough. Turn 2. What have we got that won't tell me? This will, 617, I'll remember that. I'll also remember 48 and Glenavon. 48 is... There's a 48 again. There it is. What was it, 617? Because that would be here, so it can't have been. Show me again, oh almighty sign. Where were you? This one? No, that just says Glenowen. I mean, it shouldn't matter. Andiek in 9. This Glen... Oh, other direction. I'm stupid. There we go. All right. There's the grill. Fat Lady's Bar and Grill? Possible. Got one road here. Do we have road signs? Of course we don't. But it should be this road. Then there's one more here at the end, for which we actually do have road signs. It's the 3rd Street West. Yep, it doesn't have a name on here, but it certainly is. And as such, we should be here. Yep, 1 meter. Rent free. Do we have a name on here? Saskatoon. Thank you very much. 12th Street West. Avenue North. What is that? Got 12th Street West. That's a good start. Down here. Here. Avenue OS? Is it this one? Or is it HS? HS, isn't it? Which is all the way over here, but could that really be it? Yeah, I guess we are at the dead end on this side. True. Is that right, this one? Am I back at the start? Yeah, that is the start. We should be like here. There's this building, so like here. 0 meters, we're getting closer. Okay, and now it's getting interesting. We're in the first round that people could possibly get wrong, just by virtue of it not being in the middle of a city. Let's start by going south. There's really no like safe way to go in Saskatchewan. In these very rural areas. Those are the rounds that are gonna make the difference, for better or for worse. I hope for better for my sake. I might want to turn around eventually, although we have hit some sort of, well, population. Not enough to be a town, apparently. Not enough to put out a sign. We're now in the complete desert. Without any signs, it's still way too hard to give an accurate estimation of where in Saskatchewan we might be. Not incredibly far north. I don't think we're southwest somewhere, but beyond that, I couldn't tell you anything really. Might it be worth it to turn around here? Look. Yeah, I think so. This doesn't look like it goes anywhere. The north might not either, but okay, never mind. Good that I turned around. We're hitting the 2. And what does it give me? Assiniboia and Moose Jaw. And 36 ends. Okay, 2, 36. Is it this one? Does the directionality fit? Doesn't feel quite right. Does the 2 and the 36, do they meet up again? Not really, but it just feels wrong here. Yeah, it says this is the 36. 39 kilometers to Crane Valley. That makes sense too, I guess. Go down here again. It is a curve. Oh, never mind. Maybe it is right. A slight curve. Maybe. It's gotta be. I don't see how it could be anywhere else. Once we're in here, let me just compare road direction. Yeah, it's gotta be this one. Now, I mean, would we be? No, we'd have further south. Kind of. Here, I think. We're not gonna get any closer and time's running out. Ah, we lost 3 points. We were further north. That's a bit of a shame. But okay. And Northeast School Division. Move me, please. Fuck. Main and Crawford Avenue. Hello, game, please. Where could we be? Main Street. Usually you just want to hit this road over there. Then go out of the town. City Hall, Northern Lights Palace. Not super interesting right now. Yes, that's what I want. 6341. Tisdale, Regina, Prince Albert. Melfort? Looks like Melfort to me. What's the streets at the start? Crawford and Maine, right? Crawford and Maine. We have anything else to make sure? The Home Hardware Garden Center, George Home Hardware, yes. We're about here, I would say. Is this like block? Actually, we're like here. All right. Well, that was a quick one. Not very difficult, unfortunately. So probably going to get another draw week, but you never know. I mean, I've at least secured a draw, and I think I'd be surprised if it's not enough for a bonus point on top of the draw. I can definitely see like a couple perfect scores here because it was a very easy seed. Like, don't get me wrong here. I don't think I'm gonna win. There's probably gonna be one or two people who might lose more than 100 points here. Like, let me watch this again. Let me look at that. I mean, you spawn in that direction. If you actually do the thing that I always do, which is pretty much always turn around and go the other direction, you're going to be really screwed here. But if you just keep going this way, you can see some signs over there. If you go this way, you'll easily find this one too. And from then on, all the others were like cities, weren't they? Like the first one in Regina isn't super easy. Regina is always a bit of a mess, and it can take you a bit to figure out which city you're in exactly. Then round 2 was just in Glenavon. That shouldn't be an issue for anyone. Round 3 in Saskatoon. I mean, it literally said Saskatoon right there, so nope. Round 4. Down here, yeah, we spoke about it. Probably not an issue if you go the right direction. And then Malfoy is super easy too. So, probably a lot of draws. Let's go for the more exciting thing. Will there be a not draw in Saskatchewan in any of the rounds? Let's hope so. Let's hope that it's our match and that we win. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this rather short playthrough of my own division seeds. I'm not sure if I've ever been below 10 minutes on my own seed so far. I might have been, but I don't remember where it could have been. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for doing so, and I'll see you guys again next week.